Can you believe it's been over a year now since our first episode went up?
It's kind of fucking ridiculous, right? It also means it's been over a year of us doing podcast stuff, just a year of it being publicly consumable, too, because...
So, this is our 1-year retrospective episode. We're going to look back at all the episodes we've ever done of the actual Co-Pilot series. I don't think I'm going to go back and, talk about each of the individual...
Oh, God, no. No.
Interstitial episodes. There is only, 1 or 2 interstitials I really want to hit on. Obviously, they were important.
Yeah, agreed.
But before we get into that, I put up in our Discord being like, hey, anyone wants to ask some questions for the 1 year?
Yeah.
Only Hunter hit us up with some questions. Everybody else was kind of lazy, which I get. I've been meaning to send this podcaster I listened to an email for 9 months.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't think it...
He sent us 3 questions. Do you want to take one, and then I can take one, and then, so back and forth? So
he did just hit us up with 3 questions, but there was a question that the communities we float in kind of had for us, even though they didn't come out and directly ask us personally.
Yeah.
That was, do we hate Star Wars? I'll softball that to you first. Do you hate Star Wars?
No, I don't hate Star Wars. I think Star Wars is definitely way more overhyped than it deserves. So many other institutions or must-watch things. But no, I don't hate Star Wars. I enjoy it. I don't like the prequels. And rewatching 1 and 2 definitely reaffirms to me that I do not like the prequels. But I don't hate Star Wars.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't love Star Wars, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you hate Star Wars?
Yeah, basically. I'm kind of joking. I enjoyed watching the new trilogy in theaters. Rogue One was good. I like Rogue One. I think Rogue One is a hell of a good movie.
I would say the new trilogy was good popcorn movies.
Yeah, and I think Rogue One is a hell of a good movie. Even outside of the Star Wars franchise, Rogue One is...
It has some really, really good story beats, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, kind of. Watching episode 1 and 2 made me realize how stupid Star Wars is.
Oh, no, it's not. It's not.
And I don't mean that to be insulting.
Assembled,
I know people love Star Wars, and Mandalorian is hella good.
Mandalorian's pretty fucking great.
Mandalorian, Rogue One.
The animated shows in general are pretty great.
I think there's some stuff in Star Wars that you could just set aside and be like, these are just fucking good.
Yeah.
But I think Star Wars as a whole is kind of garbage. Mainly because there's this whole mythos built up around it, and you can really see that mythos, and the way that mythos affects the movies in episode 1 and 2. Because, there's this whole shit built up around Star Wars that they just expect you to know.
Yeah, so that's kind of the worst shit ever. I hate being expected to know something, and you shouldn't be expected to have to know something about a movie. Especially when your movie is originally 30 fucking years old when you release your next set of films.
Yeah. But no, obviously, the first trilogy, 4, 5, and 6, I think A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back are just legitimately good movies.
Yeah, I'll agree with that, definitely.
I think Return of the Jedi was kind of milking it.
Yeah.
Almost a little bit of a phone-in, but what you gonna do? I like Star Wars content outside of Star Wars. There's that new Star Wars game that I've yet to play that looks really fun.
Yeah, the one that we own.
And Squadron. Star Wars is...
Fallen Order?
Yeah, Fallen Orders. Yeah. There's a bunch of cool stuff around Star Wars, but I think in general, I just don't like the movies.
Understandable.
So yeah.
Yes
and no.
We don't hate Star Wars, but we don't love Star Wars. We kind of hate Star Wars, but we kind of don't hate Star Wars.
I hate episode 1.
Yeah, no, that's hands down. That's fine. The Star Wars community loves to hate the fucking prequels.
I almost completely, absolutely hate episode 2.
Yeah, the best part's when they're in Coruscant doing the whole chase thing.
I mean, I would disagree. The best part is when Mace Windu decapitates Jango Fett.
Okay, yeah. Other than Mace Windu.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of. We kind of hate Star Wars. Take that as much out of context as you like.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, Hunter had some questions.
Yeah. So the first question he had for us was, what's been the hardest part about making a podcast?
Well, you see, there's this thing called a release schedule, and that means you have to have stuff done by a certain time. And I've been historically bad with timetables.
See, for me, it's not the whole timetable thing. That's not that bad. What's bad is when we decide on what we're doing for content or something, and then we're just like, oh shit, I actually just don't want to. So I don't think the timetable is hard until it gets to the point where it's just like sometimes before something it's just dragging. It's just like I don't want to do this at the moment. Like I don't know why. I just don't want to do it.
You mean like Star Wars?
Yeah, Star Wars was very much one of the things where it's just like, can we put this off for another week? Yeah, we can put it off for another week. Can we put it off for another day? Yeah, we can put it off for another day.
I think another good one is Minecraft Story Mode.
Yeah, Minecraft Story Mode was a bit of a one where we just like
I literally didn't even play that till like the last possible second. Like it was the night before Hunter and Chris and Justin and Brayden were coming up to visit.
Yeah, and for me, at least in Minecraft Story Mode, it wasn't because it was Minecraft. I'm not a huge Minecraft fan, but I don't dislike Minecraft either. But it was just, I don't want to have to play a video game and take notes, because taking notes for a show is a pain in the ass.
For me, it was that it was a Telltale game. Like, Telltale has some great games.
I know, Telltale games are generally enjoyable in my opinion, so I was like, this could be fine.
Telltale games are either really good or really bad, and I didn't expect good things out of Minecraft Story Mode, because Minecraft is a game where the story is like so second.
Oh yeah, if we're talking straight Telltale games, like not story-based games, but the Telltale Company games, the ones that I've played I've enjoyed. However, I've basically just played the ones that appealed to me, so take that as you will with very much a grain of salt. And the Minecraft game did not appeal to me, so nah, I wasn't feeling it.
But yeah, for me the hardest part about podcasting is that we have a schedule that we have to keep to, and like we try to plan out episodes beforehand. Like,
yeah,
we've had schedules up to 2 to 3 months planned ahead, and the nice thing about that is we know what we're doing. The bad thing about that is you kind of get like that dread where you're like, I just don't want to do this right now. So that's the hardest part for me. What about you? What's been the hardest part about podcasting for you?
Oh, it's by far just, like I was saying, coming across something or just having a lack of motivation for some stuff sometimes. Or it's just like, oh shit, we recorded this, we recorded this, it's time to edit it. And then just sitting there for like 6 hours, kind of halfway fucking staring at the screen, not really doing anything else, but just being like, I can't stand to listen to my own voice any fucking more. I just want to dash my head across this desk.
No, it doesn't help that my editing process is highly ineffective, and I'm aware of this because, like you said, you get to this point where you're just like, I can't stand to listen to my voice anymore. And for me, that takes about I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, and then I'm like,
yeah, I've built up a bit of immunity to that. I would say I can make it a good hour now, but that's not an hour into the episode. No, that's an hour of editing the episode, which is quite different.
I get about 10 to 15 minutes into the episode, and then I'm like, oh, hey, look, there's this thing called YouTube. I'm going to go watch a video on YouTube, and then I'll come back and edit some more. And then I'm like...
You've literally walked into me editing before, and it's not even that I'm doing anything else. I'll just be sitting there staring at the screen, doing nothing, because I'm like, I know if I go off of this, I'm not coming back to it, but I'll just stare at it.
Editing Star Wars, I did find a really good balance, though, where I can have a stream up and the podcast up and have the stream down low enough that I can still hear it going.
Oh, yeah, I do that a lot.
And the podcast going. Stream, I can't do that with, like, music or, like, YouTube, but, like, I think there's enough dead space in streams that I can edit and watch a stream, whereas, like, a YouTube video is pretty concise, typically. Like, when somebody's editing their YouTube video together, they're not, like, having a bunch of dead time where they're just, like, hanging out.
I've also found if I'm not wearing headphones, I can edit easier. I just have to have the speakers on.
That's fair, too.
Like, hearing my own voice directly in my ear drives me fucking crazy, but on the speakers, it's easier. It's not great, but it's easier.
Yeah, I get you there. So, Hunter's second question, then, was what's your favorite podcast-related memory? You want to tackle this one first?
Yeah, so if we're counting it in the podcast-related memory, it'd probably be John Con stuff, but arguably the podcast stuff is the, I wouldn't say least enjoyable memory from John Con, but because it was still enjoyable, but if we're excluding everything that was not John Con, it's not going to be that. It would be Pilot's Lounge 2, this time it's personal. Like, just being able to, like, sit and talk with Kantz and Logic and JSD and Hunter and Chris about their content and having a really nice conversation with all of these guys whose stuff I enjoy watching.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, Pilot's Lounge 2 is my favorite episode of anything we've done yet. Right up, like, the closest we have as far as, like, episodes go that's not Pilot's Lounge, like an actual co-pilots episode, Ghost Stories is, like, right there.
Ghost Stories was also great, yeah.
But Pilot's Lounge 2 is just a banger, and I want to do another one sometime this year, maybe with some different people, bring back some other people. But Pilot's Lounge was a fucking banger. Pilot's Lounge 1 was also a really good memory.
It was.
Less so because of the people we got to talk to, because that was Hunter and Chris, too.
Yeah, really but no, because it was kind of set after not seeing them for a while, that whole John Con thing.
No, it was because it was at like 11 a.m. And
yeah, no sleep.
We hadn't been asleep yet.
We were, some of us still slightly inebriated.
And
also, I think all of us were drinking while recording, all of us that were legally allowed to drink.
Yeah, it was a really good, like, so I'm going to take you back into our personal lives. So, a long, long time ago, and by that I mean like about a decade ago now, I was in high school, and Justice was in middle school, in high school, close. We're 3.5 years apart. So my senior year, he was a freshman. But
no, I wasn't.
Oh, you're in 8th grade?
Yep.
Okay, so we had the same group of friends, and we were both in marching band. Because our high school was a high school middle school combination, and whenever there was a state event, an event where it was like for the progression through the track in the competition. So
an actual organized musical competition,
so like
that had scholastic merit,
that had stakes to it, right? Because like there's normal events you go to where like a school will host an event and you just go and compete.
Yeah, I was saying scholastic merit to mean organized by school corporations and organizations.
Yeah, so there in marching band there are different levels like there are in sports. You have your district competition, your regionals, semi-states, and states. So at each of these events, after each of these events, we would all instead of going home, we'd go to a friend's place and stay up all night and play role-playing games and just hang out and like essentially enjoy the night, right? Because like no matter how good or bad we did at the competition, it was just an excuse to like all hang out and talk about the day and like just chill out. But like those like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. times where like you've been up since probably 5 or 6 a.m. the day before because you had to get there early to like get on the bus to like head out.
Especially depending on when your performance time was.
Yeah, so
or at least lots fucking
so like
sucked.
Stuff like that. That's exactly what recording Pilot's Lounge felt like. It felt like the same
kind of energy. Yeah.
That morning when we walked to that overhang over the interstate to eat cinnamon rolls and drink chocolate milk.
The breakfast of champions.
The breakfast of champions.
Also, there are energy drinks.
Yeah.
Those don't mix well with cinnamon rolls or chocolate milk, but they are part of breakfast of champions. It is necessary. I would say an honorable mention, kind of in the podcast-related memories, though, thing, at least for me. You have no experience with this part. Our YouTube that just launched. I did so many thumbnails, and I still have more to go.
Dude, you've impressed me with how artistic you are. If you haven't seen our YouTube channel yet, which just went live last week, go check it out. I don't have the URL off the top of our head because YouTube requires you to have 100 subscribers before you can have a custom URL.
Yeah, but just YouTube search engine Copilots review, and you'll find it.
Or click in the links in the show notes.
But the thumbnails could be extremely aggravating at points when I couldn't think of anything. But once I hit a roll, I actually really enjoyed doing them because a lot of the times it's just like, what's this stupid thing that's vaguely funny to me? Cool, I'm going to do it. Fuck anyone else. It was actually enjoyable.
I think one of the like really like highlighting memories of the podcast was getting our art back from
Jess.
Like we commissioned that art before the podcast ever started because we wanted
actual art with the first episode.
We didn't want to be some podcast with just a color and a font for our logo. Like, I get that works like as a starting point for a lot of podcasts. I'm not judging anybody that starts the most basic of backgrounds for their podcast.
But to be blatantly honest here, when we decided we were going to do this, because we've been talking about it for over a year, we were just like, fuck it. If we're going to do it, we're going to just kind of go all in. So
we're going to do it right.
We got a site. We got art. We bought nice microphones. And we were like, okay, we're going to fucking do this. We're going to do it right.
Getting that art back, though, like, especially when we got the, like, sketch back for the art, I was
Yeah.
like, this is real. This is legit. This is awesome. Like,
This is the thing we are doing.
speaking of, Jess's information is always linked in our show notes. Go check out
On
her
the
stuff.
bottom,
like,
we have a link to her website and her Twitter. Like, she does fucking amazing work.
yeah, I love her stuff. I want to commission more work for the podcast, for other stuff, but
that
like,
costs money.
yeah, so,
And we need to have like a viable thing in mind to get art for.
yeah, exactly. So you have Hunter's third question then?
Yeah, he wants to know if we have any future goals / aspirations. I'm assuming not in general, mainly towards the podcast.
Eventually, I'd like to start my own game publishing LLC to publish role-playing games. That's a future goal of mine personally. I have a bunch of different ideas that are kicking around my head always. Oh,
Yeah.
You already said
podcast for the podcast.
yeah. Okay, I guess I have some podcast goals too. First off, this is going to get a little inside baseball, but the average podcast being in the 50%. Like, okay, so a podcast is in the top 50% of all podcasts if each episode of that podcast gets 25 downloads.
Yep.
We typically sit around the 17...
It's 25 downloads in the first
2 days.
2 days, yeah.
We typically sit in that, like, 15 to 20 range right now.
Yeah, which is fucking surprising. Like, neither of us expected that.
At the point when we passed 10, I was like, well, that's all the people I know.
Yeah, exactly.
So there are people out there who I don't know who are listening to the podcast, and that's cool. I would like to get the 25 range. I would like to get to the point where I can look at us and statistically know we're in the top 50% of all performing podcasts.
Yeah, that'd be very nice.
We've already fought off some of the like negative statistics that come with podcasting. Like most podcasts fail in the first 3 months. Most podcasts stop after the 10th episode, like before the 10th episode even.
Most podcasts never make it to a full year. Fuck you, we did that.
Like, so there's all these negative statistics about podcasts that we've already beat. I just want to be in the top 50%. Like,
yeah.
I don't think top 50% is asking a whole lot. Like, I don't know. Would like to get to that place with the podcast.
Yeah.
And obviously that kind of in my mind coincides with the idea of launching a Patreon.
Yeah, like, so a future goal aspiration for myself in the podcast is I do want to launch a Patreon at some point. And I don't, don't get me wrong, being able to like subsist off of doing a podcast would be fucking astounding.
You know what would be really cool is if the podcast would just pay for itself.
That is my actual future goal aspiration. Like, just I want the podcast to kind of pay for like I don't even need to pay back the past amount of money we've put in.
No, I would like it to pay back the past.
Oh no, I would too. But I'm saying like that's like more than I'm hoping for. What I really would want, like I don't need to pay back for the Focusrite we use or the mics we have or any of that. But being able to pay for like just monthly expenses of like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, like just the streaming services we use,
and the hosting service,
Like
getting a little inside baseball again. Hosting services aren't the cheapest.
No,
I mean they're not terribly expensive.
No, we can host the site for less than $20 a month,
and on top of that, we could actually host more than just this podcast.
but we don't because that sounds dumb.
Well, I mean, I have an idea for another podcast, but it's a microfiction style podcast, and
Yeah, we don't know how we're gonna do that. We've talked about it before.
I am not a sound engineer, so doing some of the sound effects is like the sound Foley work.
I could do it if I had to.
The Foley work is the biggest thing for me, but the second biggest thing for me is writing hundreds of 5-minute episodes, because that's what it would be.
And getting people to do things.
Yeah, and I want to pay the people.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But I'd say
It's never come up on the podcast, but I 100% think anybody making art for a living
should be compensated fairly for that art.
Yeah. So, like, we commissioned an artist and made sure we paid not just, like, the quote-unquote that market value for the art. We paid over that because, like, we want to make sure we're tipping well. And we're like, because artists typically undervalue their work.
Yeah. Because they're effectively told they have to if they want to make any money.
Yeah, so...
Which is horribly incorrect.
If I'm making a microfiction, which I have this idea that I think is pretty cool. If I'm making a microfiction and I have actors, I want to be able to pay them for their work. So
yeah. So I guess that would be another future aspirational goal, but not strictly for this podcast, but kind of just for podcasting in general.
Yeah.
But I would say my main future goal aspiration is just to kind of pay for monthly expenses.
It's a good goal. It's
not even a very lofty goal. It's just one I want.
We just want the podcast to be a net zero. We want to, like, not lose money podcasting.
Truth.
I would like the podcast to pay me back for
Oh yeah, definitely.
the microphones though. That'd be cool.
That would be fantastic, but that's more long term than my brain can handle.
Yeah, so that's all the questions we explicitly got asked, and
The one that was kind of implied when people saw those episodes about Star Wars.
yeah, it didn't help that last week was May the 4th, so everybody was already like in the Star Wars mindset, and then they were like, "Wait, do you just not like Star Wars?" And I'm like, "Well,
Not exactly.
basically."
Do you have some time? I can explain.
You see, Star Wars introduced Coca-Cola and Diet Coca-Cola into the universe because Disney are sellouts, and that's stupid. That's canon, by the way. Coca-Cola exists in Star Wars. I'm not making shit up.
Yeah, because the Star Wars places at Disneyland are canonically set in Star Wars, and you can buy Coca-Cola.
If I remember correctly, the Disney places also canonically introduced Santa Claus as a Star Wars character. I'm about 90% sure on that one, but
I don't know, man, but either way, it's a thing.
anyways, this is the retrospective episode. We dived into the questions we did have. Thank you, Hunter. But we also want to kind of like go back and touch on each of these episodes and talk about them, I guess, just how we feel about the episode now. I mean, we haven't listened to all of them, but like, let's just start. Pilot candidate, motion the best. Candidate for Goddess. Our very first episode. I still think the show, by title, was the literal best thing you could do for a show, for our podcast.
I agree.
Like, that was just a good find. But I haven't even like
Thank you. I know dumb anime.
I haven't even like actively thought about this anime since we reviewed it. I have no mental space for this because it was a train wreck, and goddamn it, I don't want to touch it ever again.
Oh god, no, yeah, no. The most I've done is I made thumbnail. I had to go back to notes to find what the main character's number was, and that took 5 minutes of trying to read my notes and being like, which number was he again? Was he 88, 89, 87? What?
I didn't remember, but yeah. So, how did you feel about our first episode, just like looking back on it?
As far as first episode go, I think it was fine. I think it very well got across what we were doing. Editing can definitely be improved. Clearly, I think our editing has gotten better. But I think it was a pretty good first episode. I think it's fairly solid for having never done anything audio related at all.
So, kind of like initially when we started the podcast, I thought like in my mind part of the idea would be to keep the reviews under the length of the time of the episodes, because then it makes feasible sense for people to want to listen to the podcast about it.
I mean, for the most part, we've done that.
No, we haven't.
I said for the most part.
Don't even lie to yourself. No, we haven't.
I'm fairly certain.
No. And you know what? That's okay. I think in general, not always, but I think in general, our podcast is of higher quality than the shows we are reviewing. And
if not, it still meets an entirely different medium that is more generally accessible, I would argue, than television, because you can listen to a podcast at work, you can listen to a podcast on a drive. You should not be watching a show while you're driving. You should probably not be watching a show while you're working. But you can listen to things a lot of the times.
So that brings us to Angel.
Back when we had the every show has a Batman gimmick.
I mean, every show does have a Batman gimmick. I don't know why we stopped that. It's still true.
You know what? We can pick this back up. The pilot candidate, emotion the best. The teacher's Batman, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I don't remember what his number is. The instructor is Batman. He's mysterious. He doesn't really explain anything. He's kind of gruff and older. He's Batman.
But yeah, Angel was the introduction.
Angel is Batman.
Yeah, Angel is Batman. Angel is 100% Batman. I know we are months now, over a year, almost a year from this episode debuting. But yeah, no, Angel is still Batman. I haven't watched another episode, but I'm 100% sure the writers of this show, I guess Whedon, right? Joss Whedon
was he in charge of the writing for the show?
I have no idea.
I don't know, but yeah, no, definitely they knew they were writing Batman.
They knew they were writing Batman. There's no way they didn't know they were writing Batman with demons.
Yeah, and then I think the show probably went downhill when someone pointed out that Constantine already existed. I have to assume that's how Angel came to an end. Someone's just like, Constantine. And they're like, shit. Well, I guess we're done here.
Yeah. I haven't listened to that episode since like May of last year, June of last year.
Yeah.
So I can't really talk about the quality of it, but I'm assuming it's about as bad as the first episode's quality.
Yeah.
I think as far as like we go on that episode, we probably are more in sync because Angel is more more up the alley of what I enjoy.
Angel had more to talk about substance-wise. And I would say Angel was definitely a stronger show than Motion the Best Candidate for Goddess. So actually gave more to talk about and lean on.
Well, actually, while we're here, while we're going back through this stuff, Pilot Candidate, it's bad, right? Like, that's our take on it. Don't watch Pilot Candidate. It's bad. Yeah, okay, cool. I just want to go ahead and, like, officially, like, lock down how many episodes we had where our take was, hey, don't watch this. It's terrible. How many shows we had were like, you can probably watch this. And how many shows we had where we're like,
watch it.
Yeah, watch this now. Because we start off, Pilot Candidate.
Don't watch.
Please don't watch it.
Still Angel, I would say was you can watch it.
Yeah, Angel is definitely it's watchable. I wouldn't suggest it, but if you liked Buffy and you wish there was more.
Yeah, Angel is a sure watch. So then we have episode 3, Wayne.
Which is the first.
Yeah, definitely go fucking watch it.
Yeah, go fucking watch it.
Also, I'd like to note here, if you still haven't watched Wayne, go fucking watch Wayne.
It's on
Prime now, I think.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime now. Amazon now owns it, and they could add it. They could commission a second season if
more people watched it.
If you fuckers go and watch it, because Wayne was good, and the fact that it only got one season is a fucking robbery.
Also, Wayne is clearly Batman. He is named after Batman. He is Wayne.
I just want to, this is the biggest issue with YouTube's series. As many good series as they have, and they've had several good series. Most of them don't get a second season because people just weren't paying to watch YouTube Red.
No, why would you when you have all kinds of free shit on YouTube?
Yeah,
and a lot of shit they pushed for YouTube Red to get people to watch was mainly just, hey, this content creator you already watch and enjoy? They're making a video that's just behind a paywall of all the other stuff that they normally do that you can watch. Or they're still making their normal content that you can just watch for free.
I know you're trying to,
I'm not wrong.
Make a point, but the reason why I initially got YouTube Red, right?
Oh, yeah, Vsauce.
Yeah, because Michael from Vsauce did Minefield, and that show was hella good.
Oh, no. You're
also, MatPat did a...
I'm just saying, in general, that was, what they pushed for YouTube Red, and it was just, or YouTube Premium now?
Yeah, it's YouTube Premium now, but it was YouTube Red. But also, MatPat did a YouTube Premium series that was actually hella good.
But yeah, the point is, they didn't do a lot with it.
Yeah, no, they didn't push it on the basis of their original works. They pushed it on the basis of
their content creators.
Hey, you like MatPat? Go watch this other show MatPat did. And people were like,
he's still making the other stuff I like, though.
Yeah,
and I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah. And then some of the stuff they were pushing was just bad. I don't know any titles off the top of my head, but
we're just going to assume they're bad.
I mean, there's also stuff that was okay, but I don't like the fact that I like it because of the people that were in it.
Makes sense.
I think it's called The Fascinating. I don't remember. It stars Logan Paul, and as okay as that movie was, 6.5 out of 10, 7 out of 10. The Thinning, that's what it was. 6.5 out of 10, 7 out of 10. I hate the fact that it was an okay movie because Logan Paul doesn't deserve any royalties from anything ever.
Yeah. And then, Wayne. Do you remember anything really about Wayne that you'd like to hit upon for?
The music's still amazing. Honestly, it's the first show on this list that
we've watched all of.
We watched all of it. Wayne is so good. I haven't watched episode 3 of Angel yet. I will eventually get around to watching all of Angel.
Yeah, but Wayne we watched all of. It was fantastic.
Yeah. So that brings us to the fourth one, which is another show I haven't watched an episode 3 of yet, but I feel like I've seen all of it at this point just because I've
looked up all of the memes.
Yeah, I've buried myself in the memes of this show.
And that is Ghost Stories, specifically the English version of Ghost Stories.
Look, if you're going to watch Ghost Stories, there's no point in watching the Japanese version.
Yeah, no.
Sorry, whoever wrote that and whoever directed that.
But you also recognized it was a critical failure, which is why you told the English production studio they could basically do whatever they wanted as long as they kept the main theme of each episode.
It wasn't a failure though. That's a myth about Ghost Stories. I've dived deep on this shit. Ghost Stories didn't fail in Japan. Ghost Stories was exactly as big of a hit as they thought it would be. Which is to say, it filled a Saturday morning niche, and that's what they wanted out of the show.
No, I realized, but they didn't think they could do anything outside of there, and they were
right. Ghost Stories is from the 90s, which is kind of like when anime was latching in America, getting its hooks in. And so the studio was like, Ghost Stories is very Japanese. We don't think you're going to get a good market on that in the US if you keep it exactly how it is. And so in order to like make it have any type of success, do what you need to do to get it to sell. It wasn't that they were like, oh no, this bombed in the...
No, I realize.
Yeah, like that's the common myth about it though. Like people are like, oh, it bombed in Japan, so it was sold for pennies. And
yeah, it didn't bomb. It didn't do great, but it wasn't meant to do great.
And it
performed as expected.
Yeah, and it wasn't sold super cheap to an English studio. It
was sold in a bundle with other shit.
Yeah, because that's how animes were sold.
Yeah, they just purchased rights. It was like, oh, here's this one thing you really want. You have to buy these 20 other shows.
Yeah, it was like, oh, hey, you want to adapt Shaman King for a U.S. audience? Well, you also have to buy these 6 animes that were only kind of that were like mid-tier here in Japan, and you have to actually make them, or you can't make Shaman King. And studios were like, well, Shaman King is gonna fucking sell.
It'll be worth it. Let's do it.
Yeah. So Ghost Stories is
definitely a watch.
It's
if you're into darker and a bit more crude humor, I would say it's a watch.
Ghost Stories could not be made in 2021.
Oh god, no. It couldn't be made in 2010, I would say.
But Ghost Stories is a piece of anime history that deserves to be like held up for how amazing it is. It also is honestly like referred to as the first fan dub by the internet community in general because of how insane it is. If you've ever watched a fan dub like
Team 4 Stars Dragon Ball?
Yeah, Team 4 Stars Dragon Ball Abridged or like Code Mint or any of the abridged series. This is definitely like, if not exactly where the inspiration for that stuff came from,
but might as well be.
It feels like those, except instead of cutting the episodes down to 6 minutes, 5 minutes, they're like, what if we just did the entire episode?
Yeah. And then we have episode 5, G.I. Joe.
So, Ghost Stories is definitely a watch.
Yeah, that way to establish it like 3 times.
Yep. Now, G.I. Joe's next.
G.I. Joe, a real American hero.
I liked reviewing G.I. Joe. I really did, because G.I. Joe is from that era of cartoons where there's this very specific group of people that will swear to you that they're good.
It was very much a cartoon that was meant to be toyetic. It wasn't meant to be a good show. It was meant to be a good commercial.
Yeah.
And by fucking God, did G.I. Joe do a great job of being a commercial.
It feels like a commercial. These full episodes feel like commercials.
Yeah.
But anyways, what I was saying, it's from an era of cartoons where cartoons were bad and people wouldn't admit that they were bad. Those people won't admit that those cartoons are bad today. Transformers gets to fall into that category. He-Man gets to fall into that category. There's a bunch of old cartoons that were garbage on their first go around. He-Man,
I would say, is on the border.
He-Man's 2000s remake is just so much better. Its original is kind of garbage.
I never watched the remake, so I don't know.
Yeah, but there's all these shows that were just not good, and this is one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So G.I. Joe, don't watch it.
I do like the fact that specifically people that enjoyed that stuff will refuse to go back and rewatch it because they're like, no, it was great.
I love, especially when like, no, I won't go back. That'll ruin it. I'm like, of course that'll fucking ruin it because you realize it's not good.
Of course they'll ruin it because it was never good to begin with. You've just romanticized this vision of your childhood.
Yeah, very much like we said in the description for the episode. We were here to rip those fucking rose-colored glasses off your face.
Look, I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't good. I know that my memories of Yu-Gi-Oh! Being good are a lie. I still love the Battle City arc. I went back and watched it, and I still know it's not good. But you won't see me telling you that it's the best thing ever.
No, the only thing I'm going to be telling you about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is any moment with Kaiba. I mean, not Kaiba. Any moment with Pegasus. I'll rewatch that shit.
And I still think Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Duel Academy is legitimately good, and I've rewatched it. But yeah, no. That brings us to episode 6, Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills, and even saying that name gets the theme song stuck in my head.
Tattooed Teenage. Dun, dun, dun. Tattooed Teenage. Dun, dun, dun. Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills.
I still need to watch more of this. I own the entire series on DVD.
Because we couldn't find a place to watch it on the internet without without
Yeah.
felony.
But no, it's stupid. It's terrible. And it's probably not worth watching, but goddamn is it hilarious and I love it.
It is shticky enough to be amusing.
I don't even know where to put this. Is this a good episode? Is this a good, like, you should watch it? Or is this a bad? Or is this a neutral? Like,
I would say this is a neutral. If you like shtick and things that are so shticky that they're comedic, then yes, watch it.
oh, fucking hell. Dustin, frequent flyer Dustin, suggested this show to us.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you.
Yeah, it's not good, but I love it for that.
Okay, I don't know why, but like I have this fascination with Sentai.
Because Sentai is simultaneously fantastic and horrible, all in one.
And like I don't like I have like old actual Sentai, like Kamen Rider and shit, like whatever. Fuck it. Like that's okay. That's like it's in my brain, but like I don't give a shit about it. But any Sentai that is like knockoff Sentai or like just vaguely references Sentai, I'm like, yes, I'm here for this. It has to be stupid. I can't wait.
Yeah. So, Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills. Maybe watch it if that's your cup of tea.
The effects for the monsters were so bad.
Oh yeah. So then that brings us to the first of our episodes with guests.
Our first guest episode, Vampire Diaries.
And I have recently started watching more of this, actually. I have watched episodes 3 and 4 as of last week, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have no plans to ever touch Vampire Diaries at this point. I know when we watched this, I had planned on watching it, but like since then I have re-listened to, reread Twilight, and I've just realized how grody teenage girls with 100-year-old vampires is, and that's not a genre I want to go back to.
Oh no, you are completely right. But
True Blood is a show we watched for review sake, and never aired.
I was actually about to make a reference to that.
And True Blood is closer to being okay because our main character is like 20, 21, 22, something like that. I think she's 22. But like her boyfriend is still 150 years old and like...
So picking Vampire Diaries back up, I didn't rewatch episodes 1 or 2.
Yeah, okay.
And I started episode and like, why do none of these people look familiar? I was like, that's not what they're... Oh, wait, I'm thinking True Blood. And then like halfway through the episode again, I'd be like, wait... Why is he using Vervain to stop Damon from being able to use her powers? I thought her brain didn't work. No, that's True Blood. What was this show again?
So you're telling me that you watched this show and you're just like, wait, why isn't this True Blood?
Yeah, basically.
Fair. True Blood are hella good books, from what I remember, but I have just reached a point in my life where...
Vampire media is kind of like, what the fuck, this is gross?
Yeah.
No, it's been that way forever.
Yeah, I know it's been that way forever. I've just come to the point where I've realized it myself.
I realized it a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mainly intend to watch Vampire Diaries because, as I mentioned in our original review, I watched, not Legacy.
The originals?
No, or Legacies, not the originals. I watched Legacies and I was like, Legacies is fun. So I want to watch Vampire Diaries and the originals. So I plan on doing that.
I've heard amazing things about the originals, and that's the only reason I'd watch Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
Is Vampire Diaries is a show you should watch, or is it a bad show?
I'd say it's an eh.
It's an eh?
It very much hits like CW plot writing and stuff, and
Speaking
if
of
you like vampires and aren't disgusted by them, you can probably watch it.
Speaking of CW stuff, my current show I'm trying to tackle and fight my way through is the 15-season epic called Supernatural. I'm about a season and a half in, and I'm already feeling it, Justice. I'm already feeling the slog.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That brings us to our next guest episode, which was a mistake.
Pure torture that was Kiss Sis.
You know, I don't know the context of Hayao Miyazaki saying anime is a mistake.
But he wasn't incorrect.
He was right. Like, I can't watch Kiss Sis and think...
This medium should exist.
Yeah, no. It's kind of like... So, I actually spent a bunch of time yesterday watching anime.
Mm-hmm.
I watched an anime I'd never heard of called Burning Kabaddi, about a sport I'd never heard of called Kabaddi.
Yep.
Which is basically...
Organized tag.
Which is basically Red Rover.
Yeah. More like Red Rover, yeah. You're right.
But with rules. It's a sports anime though, so I love it. Backflip was another one I was watching. And then I watched Rock Climbing Girls, I think it's called.
Yeah, Iwakakure Rock Climbing Girls.
So, look, I like anime. I really do. But Kiss Sis is just...
Bad. Don't watch it.
It's so much garbage.
Yeah.
And it's painful. And I could never...
I've unironically seen people like listed as something they really enjoy. I'm just like,
our friend...
how?
I think our friend ironically got to the point where he unironically enjoys Kiss Sis. Like, I think he started in a vein where he was like, oh, this is good because it's stupid and funny.
But then as we bashed on it when he was around, he was just like, well, no, see, it's because of this. And we're just like, no, we get what it's trying to do, but it's not okay.
Yeah, so Kiss Sis is garbage.
Don't watch it.
It's the reason why anime gets a bad name.
Yeah. It was a poor mistake to place an ad on another podcast without thinking that this was going to be the episode that people would come in on.
Yeah, so we purchased ad space on System Mastery Podcast. You may have heard us talk about it before because...
we talk about it a lot.
My stream is an advertisement for our podcast, and our podcast is an advertisement for System Mastery.
Yep.
But... it's so sad, but it's so true. We placed an ad on System Mastery, specifically on their show Movie Mastery, where they review movies, which I thought was probably the best lineup of like their fans that would enjoy our stuff.
Yep.
And that just happened to line up with the release of Kiss Sis. And so Kiss Sis was, for a really long time, our highest performing episode.
Second highest. It's never beaten our first episode.
Oh. So I guess that's an upside. Mm-hmm. That brings us to episode 10, Money Heist, though. And we know how I feel about Money Heist, I think.
Yeah, don't watch it, right?
So, Money Heist is the single greatest piece of television novella fiction to ever be released. I think it might literally be the pinnacle of the art form. The acting, the writing, it's all so good. I've watched the entire show, all 3 seasons. Justice has not, because he doesn't like good television. He likes Smallville.
I didn't like Smallville. Don't lie to people. I like Smallville more than I like Twilight, though.
So, that's where I sit, obviously. I think Money Heist will
Money Heist is definitely good, and I should definitely watch more of it. I still intend to watch more of it.
Chris hasn't watched that much more of it either. I'm sitting here, like, every time I talk to Chris, I'm, like, 30 seconds away from... both of them, actually. But I expect Chris to actually watch the show. I don't expect Hunter to watch the show because the only media he consumes is the occasional podcast.
And then video games.
So, Chris, if you're out there listening, have you watched more Money Heist?
And if you haven't, you should. Money Heist is a watch.
It's a hella good watch. I found this at the same time I found a bunch of other, like, foreign language shows on Netflix.
Yeah.
And one of them, I can't remember the name of. I need to go see if I can find it again because it was really good and I enjoyed it. But this one's so good.
And then after Money Heist, we hit our Halloween month, and we have Goosebumps.
Our R.L. Stine month. You know, R.L. Stine was legitimately, like, such a factor to me falling in love with, like...
Also, real quick, though.
Yeah.
We did skip Minecraft Story Mode, but I think we talked about that earlier.
Oh, I did skip Minecraft Story Mode.
Yeah. Minecraft Story Mode, don't. That's all I have.
Look, I only did the first 2 episodes of this game, and I think there's like 5 or 6 episodes in the full game.
But it was like 8 hours of my life that I desperately want back.
Okay, it was closer to 3 or 4.
Not with the notes.
God, it literally felt like I was torturing myself.
Yeah, the writing is boring, the characters are boring, there's nothing really interesting happening ever. And a lot of the actual gameplay portion, when you're not making choices, walking around, doesn't matter. And thus, don't play the game.
So here's my hot take. The act of preparing for the podcast to review Minecraft Story Mode was more painful and harder than the act of preparing to review Kiss Sis. And that's probably because Kiss Sis is 40 minutes of anime I had to watch. And while it hurt me deep inside, I wasn't doing it at 4 a.m. the night before my friends were coming over while I needed to also like clean the apartment up for them to get here. Minecraft Story Mode was physically painful. Kiss Sis was mentally painful.
Yeah. So now that we've cleared that, don't play Minecraft Story Mode. Episode 11 for our Halloween month, to kick it off, we did Goosebumps.
which, we'll go ahead and spoil the game here, was a neutral. It was a
It was an but if you're a young kid or you're trying to show your young kids some horror without traumatizing them, Goosebumps is definitely the way to go.
And in that vein, the next episode, which was the
Actually,
Haunting Hour.
I would like to talk about our interstitial between these.
1 second. I just
Okay.
want to hit the Haunting Hour, which in the vein of our next episode, the Haunting Hour. The Haunting Hour is just better Goosebumps.
Yes, and I would argue that's just because of being like 15 years newer.
So is Haunting Hour also kind of meh, or is it like an actual recommend? Like, it's sitting in the in between, right? Like,
Yeah, it's sitting in the in between of those. I would say
I'm gonna call it a meh on my list here. I'm building.
same. I would also call it a meh. Other episodes might be good. I just wasn't very interested in this doll thing. It was so far from what my brain could connect to because I was just like prissy child,
Yeah, no, 100%.
annoying. I kind of just want her to die to this doll. So,
Yep. Like you said though, there was an interstitial between these two,
Fright Flight.
which, I want to do a Fright Flight again. This was fun.
It was actually really enjoyable.
I will have to go find a bunch more like short horror media online because that's more my ballpark than yours. I know,
I don't do the internets.
but
And that's where this thing we do goes.
we
How does this work?
we reviewed 4 YouTube short series
We did.
that are considered either horror classics or new age horror classics. The new age ones being Hi, I'm Mary Mary and Looksee.
Yes.
The actual like classics being Post Content and Marble Hornets. Marble Hornets, I kind of,
Classic ones were bad.
actually in general, yeah, the classic ones were bad. Marble Hornets is, I think the conceit was cool. I think the idea of Marble Hornets is cool, and
It runs off the base conceit that I hate in every horror movie that has it. Found footage. And anytime you do that, I'm going to tell you straight up, it's probably going to be bad and I'm not going to enjoy it.
yeah, but Marble Hornets, it was the first of its kind on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It's when it was before Slenderman popped off, so it wasn't like it was trying to cash in on Slenderman.
No, I get where it's coming from like a cultural standpoint and point in time. However, it's still not enjoyable. And you will never, ever hear me say I like found footage films, except for the project one. I don't remember it. Time travel stuff.
Oh, yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Also, Chronicle wasn't bad, but the found footage part weakened the movie.
Yeah, that's true, too. Post Content was the other one, and I just I didn't understand.
It was just amusingly
I just didn't
off.
understand it. Like, right? I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know what I was going for. It was just kind of...
It was a little disturbing, which, I mean, is cool.
I didn't find it disturbing. I just found it oddly adorable in the point that it was trying to be scary or like offsetting. I would guess that feels like it was adorable how quaint it was in its attempted horror,
But then there was the Looksee.
which was amazing.
Legitimately good horror. Like, I've watched all of Looksee now.
I haven't. I need to. I forgot its name.
Oh, it's so good. And then there was Hi, I'm Mary Mary, which I have not watched all of,
But
but
Hi, Mary Mary was well done.
I love Hi, I'm Mary Mary. I've not watched all of it, but I know a bunch of the stuff around it, and that's probably why I haven't dived so hard into it. But
Its framing was really well done, and I enjoyed it.
I love everything about Hi, I'm Mary Mary. The main character has a Twitter that I've read all of, like, every
Nice.
tweet, because it's just so compelling. Like,
I Am Mary Mary is probably the one that comes across the most creepypasta.
Yeah, like, so there's something... I just love horror stories that branch out of their primary medium. Like, Hi, I'm Mary Mary is a YouTube series.
Yes.
So the fact that it's also a Twitter thing and also an Instagram thing, like, the fact that it has multiple avenues makes the story deeper to me.
Understandable.
And it's just an interesting facet. Like, it's... I know how... Like, don't... Obviously, the story is a story. It's all make-believe. But, like, the idea of the Twitter and the Instagram, like, lends to the idea of this is real, which is fun. Like, obviously, I'm not convinced it's real.
Obviously.
I'm not stupid.
So for Fright Flight, Looksee and Hi, I'm Mary Mary definitely watches.
yeah, 100%.
Marble Hornets and the other one, post content, probably not.
Okay, so I would argue that Marble Hornets deserves a watch. If you like the Slenderman stuff at all, like, go back and watch Marble Hornets. It is iconic, and it's a piece of history. In fact, you don't even have to watch Marble Hornets. They got a full-length movie that is basically an adaptation of their YouTube series. I don't remember what it's called, but it's out there. It came out in like 2011, 2012. So
Cool.
Go watch that. Go watch the YouTube series. I think it's worth, if you like creepypasta, I think it's worth it just from like the historical point of it. But yeah, post-content was just garbage. Sorry.
So from there, we have episode 13, Swamp Thing, which saw our first actual divide. You were just strictly do not watch on Swamp Thing, aren't you?
I mean, I'm still do not watch on Swamp Thing. Like,
Fun fact, sorry. I have watched all of Swamp Thing season 1. I enjoyed it. It was basically like what I said it was going to be, which was, I felt it was probably going to be a middling show, but fun for Swamp Thing things. And I was correct. So I would say Swamp Thing is a watch. If you like the DC CW shows. And you like Swamp Thing, and you like the more supernatural aspect of DC's universe.
Look, don't get me wrong. Swamp Thing is sitting right in the cusp of like everything I love about DC, which is mainly the supernatural shit, like Superman, Batman, whatever. Justice League, whatever. Like, I loved Young Justice. There's a bunch of stuff I love about DC that's in the primary superhero stuff. But all their best shit is like supernatural. Not like the show Supernatural. But like,
yeah, definitely.
Like Deadman and Constantine and Zatanna and Swamp Thing and Blue Devil, that's his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of that shit is the coolest shit in DC. And Swamp Thing was kind of lame.
Honestly, I think it's because the first 2 episodes were establishing it kind of, so we didn't get much Swamp Thing. And I still very much the idea that if you didn't have to take notes from Swamp Thing, you would have enjoyed it more.
I still think I would be like a 6 or a 7 on it at best.
I'm pretty sure that's what you said on most DC CW shows.
I legitimately like Arrow. It just becomes too CW after a while. But like seasons 1 through 4 of Arrow, I just legitimately like an 8.5.
Okay.
I like Arrow. But then again, Arrow was kind of the first. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put this under the good side of our reviews because I understand that the show is actually probably fine.
Yeah, no.
I just don't like it.
And then we have Better Off Ted, the Aperture Science workplace television show that's not technically Aperture Science, but let's face it, Viridian Dynamics is definitely a subsect of Aperture. Well, Aperture Science is probably a subsect of the parent company, Viridian Dynamics, but...
So, again, thank you, Dustin. This was another suggestion from him.
It was, and it was enjoyable.
Better Off Ted is hella good. I've watched more than 2 episodes, but not quite the whole thing.
I have watched the whole thing.
It's very good. It's so good. I love this show.
Honestly, I still fucking love the commercials in it for Viridian Dynamics. It's fantastic. And I wish there was more to the show, but there's not.
I don't think Aperture Science and Viridian Dynamics were obviously based off one another.
No, but the overlap and like similarities is so fucking close that it's fantastic.
Yeah. Better Off Ted is good. It's funny. I like the storytelling.
Yeah.
And I like the framing of it because like the framing of it's mostly him telling his daughter about his work day.
Like life lessons and just being like, I probably shouldn't mention this shit, but still thinking about it. So we're getting like his unfiltered thoughts about his life lessons to his daughter.
So it's kind of How I Met Your Mother in the framing, but it's not How I Met Your Mother, so it's better.
Yeah. And it has similar cuts, I would say, to like Office or Parks and Recreation for the way it does some of the stuff like Office comedy. But let's face it, I don't like The Office. Oops. Oh no. And Parks and Recreation is alright. But Better Off Ted is fantastic. So
I know I blasphemized by insulting How I Met Your Mother, but that was real blasphemy. Not even the Office part. I've not watched the US version of The Office, and the UK version of The Office burnt me on the both versions. Like, I
like neither.
But Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec is good, I said. I'm just not a huge fan of it.
Parks and Rec is so good.
Parks and Rec goes downhill after like season 2.
You know what? You can be wrong. That's okay. Episode 15 was It's Bruno. And
we didn't come to the conclusion. Better Off Ted, watch.
Oh, yeah, I already updated the list. I thought that was obvious. Better Off Ted.
I'm saying it blatantly.
Okay. Episode 15 was It's Bruno. And a little behind the scenes here. We were both getting a little burnout here. And It's Bruno was picked exclusively because of how short the episodes were. Mm-hmm. But the show is also bad.
Also, we needed time to deal with and set up our Pilot's Lounge 2, which was right after this.
Yeah, that's true. So we were crunchy. We were a little crunched. We were a little burned. And the show was picked exclusively because of how short it was and how easy it would be to review.
Yeah.
It's still terrible. Don't watch it. I regret watching it.
So much great reception from when I was looking at it.
Afterwards. Didn't it legitimately win awards?
I think so, but I did not enjoy it. Maybe, I think we mentioned even in the review, maybe if you're a fucking, like, pet parent and you're obsessed over your pet, maybe.
I don't think so. We don't own a cat now, but...
But, no, don't watch it. It's not good. And it has some really bad stereotypes for characters, in my opinion.
Yeah, next up was another interstitial I feel like we should talk about.
Pilot's Lounge 2. This time, it's personal.
Legitimately the best thing we put out ever. Fight me.
Yeah, no, I'll agree.
For this episode, we reviewed 5 of our streamer friends.
I wouldn't say we reviewed them. I'd say we talked with them.
We reviewed 5 of our streamer friends and told you that they all make very good content and you should go watch them all, subscribe to them all, follow them all.
Do you think we can talk some of our streamer friends into making streams and just labeling them like episode 1 and 2 so we can review their streams?
We've talked about this. But no, like so we didn't review them. We talked to our friends.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call it an interview. We legitimately just had conversations.
Yeah.
With people whose content we enjoyed, like
Cans,
Logic. JSD, Logic, Hunter, Chris. Like Hunter and Chris are obviously our personal friends in real life.
As kind of shown by the fact that they've they've popped up on this podcast multiple occasions now.
Yeah. But Kance, Logic, and JSD are just guys we met during quarantine, essentially. Mm-hmm. Because watching Twitch was basically the only thing we had to do. And Logic Defender, Alex, he's a really cool guy. He's going to school to be an actor. And honestly, he's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I enjoy him. He makes good content. But like, weirdly, they're like as close, like as good of friends as I feel like we are with them at this point.
Yes.
It still feels like a weird relationship because like we are viewers of their product.
Yes, it is
almost parasocial, but like we've breached the boundaries of parasocial relationships.
Yeah, it feels like we've crossed the boundaries of what is the parasocial relationship into a normal social relationship, but also exists in a quantum state in between the two.
I think it's just how tight the origin of the parasocial relationship is.
For example, literally, as we are recording this, I have Cants pulled up on my phone.
I don't currently, but he was streaming fart noises, so...
Yeah, and I'm down with that. Cants is also fucking great.
Yeah, he is.
And both, I think, Cants and Logic are some of the... I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound mean at first. Some of the dumbest ideas for content, like fart.
Look, no, it's not mean because the first like stream I ever saw Cons on was him competing with Logic in a drinking game on a children's spelling game.
I would argue it's one of the dumbest ideas for content, but they do it fucking amazing, and it's wonderful because that they are the ones doing it.
On the flip side, JSD doesn't have stupid idea for content.
No.
JSD he plays some games.
Dark Souls.
Nier right now.
Nier.
But he also does writing streams where he writes stories and takes requests from viewers, and
they're amazingly written.
The fact that he could just like spin a story basically about whatever you want to hand him is one of the coolest shit. Was one of the coolest things. I fucking love everything JSD does. Yeah, he's a cool guy, and I enjoy his stuff. And
so, for all the people we talked about on This Time It's Personal, I would say watch.
Yeah, watch 100%. I'm not going to add to that to our good bad watch count, but if I did, it'd be +5 to good side.
Yes. And then we have Nightman. And also...
Which was vaguely the Return of the Batman joke.
Yes, because Nightman is Batman. Also, quick update since we're back to the Batman stuff. Let's see. We left off on Wayne. Wayne is Batman. The other stories, I would argue no one's really Batman, but we have, like, all of the Robins. G.I. Joe, We have all of Batman's horrible rogues gallery from the Golden Era. Okay. Tattooed teenage alien fighters from Beverly Hills. Can I just make Nimbar Batman just because I find that funny?
The fact that you still remember Nimbar's name is insane. But yeah.
Cool. Giant bloated thing on pedestal is Batman.
Then there's Vampire Diaries.
I guess the good vampires Batman. I've watched 2 more episodes and I don't remember his name. Stefan's Batman. Shit.
Kiss Sis.
No one's Batman, and that's good. Minecraft story mode. I, the player, am Batman. I'm the only one capable of making good decisions.
Money Heist.
What's his name?
The Professor.
The Professor is Batman.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
Like,
hands down.
yeah, 100%. The Professor
He's
is
like
Batman.
Batclan version Batman, but he's Batman.
Yeah, 100%.
Goosebumps.
There's not a Batman in Goosebumps. There is a Batman in Haunting Hour.
There is a Batman in Haunting Hour, yeah.
It's the dude that like goes to beat up the doll with the main character.
Mm-hmm.
He's Batman.
I would say in Goosebumps, we don't have a Batman, but I could see the old masked man Sully being Ra's al Ghul.
Well, I mean, our main character is like a half a step away from being a scarecrow, so.
Also true. Better off Ted. No Batman, but I forget his name. We freeze him. He is clearly Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, obviously.
Dr. Freeze.
Yep. It's Bruno doesn't have a Batman because that would mean the show was like comparable to Batman.
So we have an annoying Bat Dog.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
The annoying Bat Dog, not cool Ace from Batman Beyond, who is just a dog.
And that brings us back up to Nightman. Except we did skip this time. It's personal, which obviously they're all Batmans. No, that feels like an insult.
I'm Batman. Nightman. Johnny Domino is Batman. He's just Batman.
Johnny Domino is Batman.
Just Batman with some saxophone playing skills.
Man, that animated like PNG of Nightman standing on the roof,
You're welcome.
like just cranking that saxophone. God damn it, that image is gonna last in my brain forever.
So making thumbnails for the Nightman episode, which by the way is my thumbnail I am most proud of. I was just looking for Nightman things, and there was a.
Did you know Nightman is just so embedded in Marvel culture? Like, we joked about if this was a Marvel TV show.
When they got the Ultra comic line, they tried to make Nightman a thing. There was Nightman versus Wolverine, Nightman versus Gambit. I think I saw a Nightman versus Nightcrawler.
There was definitely a Nightman versus Nightman issue where he fought Nightman from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's
just, the cover art we used.
Yeah, that's just our thumbnail for that.
But no, they tried to make him a thing. He had like multiple issue runs of Nightman versus Wolverine, but they'd fight and then probably do something together.
Yeah, it's like
It did the same thing with Gambit.
It was like the Wolverine versus Spider-Man thing, where like
Yeah.
Wolverine is.
They tried so hard to make him a thing, and also there was an Ultra Comics television show for like whatever their group was named, but I couldn't find it. And that's where you got that GIF from that I sent you.
Oh, that's so good.
And I kind of want to review that at some point. We won't see Johnny Domino in it because he doesn't show up until like episode 16. But
Okay, so is Nightman good or bad? I think it's terrible, but like in a loving way. It's terrible.
I think it falls in the same category as like Tattooed Teenage Aliens from Beverly Hills. It's an but if you're down for sticky dumb bullshit, watch it.
Yeah, feels fair. That brings us to the co-pilot Christmas special where we reviewed my second favorite Christmas movie of all time. Mm-hmm. Also known as Jingle All the Way, which
is fantastic.
Having rewatched it in the last 6 months, I can honestly tell you guys is terrible.
Yeah. It's not good.
But I love it. It's
enjoyable, but it's not good.
Honestly, if you've never seen it, don't worry about watching it.
Yeah, I wouldn't got in my way.
If you have seen it, you know why it's worth watching, and you can just cherish that with the few of us who recognize that it's worth watching.
And then
I'm going to dump it in the bad column, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then we have The Legend of Black Heaven.
Which I'm also going to dump in the bad column, excuse me. There we go.
I still don't know how I feel about The Legend of Black Heaven. Because it felt like in the first episode, like it could go so far. And then the second episode very much made it like, yeah, we're not going anywhere with this. He's going to get an alien he's going to get an alien harem and leave his wife.
Yeah, so...
and I was just like, you went from being like deep inset ennui of this man and his existential dread, and how music is the only thing that can save him from his own personal hell, to being like, ha, hot alien lady, I'm a boner.
So the first episode was like art.
Yeah.
And the second episode was like alien harem.
Mm-hmm.
Which, applause for the twist there. Like, you turned it somehow. Like, geez.
I mean, it gave us two twists. Like, from the description, I was just like, okay, cool. This sounds vaguely like early Fooly Cooly.
So
it's going to be kind of fun alien shenanigans with guitars and music. Oh, shit, this man's super depressed. This is actually going to be kind of serious, too. Ha, tricked you again. It's not.
Yeah, like, I think based on the second episode, I would just hard stop, don't watch this. First episode, there was something about the first episode that just made me think, yeah, this is something.
Yeah, so I would think, yeah, don't watch it. Just to be clear, I'm probably going to watch it because
you hate yourself.
I want to know. Does it swerve again on me and go back to deep existential dread?
Well, if you watch it, let me know, because that first episode had something special going on it.
And then we hit WandaVision.
I'm going to go ahead and dump WandaVision in the good bucket.
Honestly, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in Jingle All the Way is Batman.
Oh, yeah.
He's a man who gets a suit with technology and legitimately fights a criminal. Even though he himself is technically a criminal.
The wife in Legend of Blackhaven, she's Batman.
The wife is Batman?
Yeah, she's Batman.
Because she has no emotional attachments to anything or anyone?
And because she's a super powerful detective.
I guess, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, who else are you going to give it to? His boss? Him? The alien lady? Like, nah, fuck.
I was going to give it to his son for throwing records out the window like batarangs.
Man, that son needs to be thrown out the window. Jesus Christ.
Like a batarang?
Yeah, like a batarang.
Okay, now we're on to WandaVision. So, out of a Marvel property of WandaVision, who is Batman?
God, what's his name? The comedy relief character from Ant-Man. He's our Batman.
I'm down with it.
I can't remember his name, and I feel so bad because he's such a good character.
Yeah.
Personally, out of everything Marvel's done for the MCU, WandaVision's my favorite thing they've done.
Yeah, WandaVision's fucking fantastic.
I know it's a hot take.
I was right. It's Agent James Wu.
Yeah,
but my mind was like, is that I don't want to be wrong with the name Wu.
Oh no, like my brain was like, it can't be Wu. Wu Assassins was terrible.
Yeah, but no, he's played by Randall Park, who I mentioned then.
Yeah.
Randall Park's a great actor.
Yeah, Agent Wu, he's Batman. But WandaVision's amazing, and it's my favorite thing from the MCU.
Oh yeah, WandaVision is definitely a hard fucking watch.
So
if you didn't already watch it, which if you didn't, where the fuck were you? It was kind of a zeitgeist.
It was really a cultural touchstone for the moment, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. I would say watch WandaVision. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Like I said, it's my favorite thing in the MCU, and I know that's a little controversial. People have their own favorites. I think Civil War, Winter Soldier.
Or you have your Spider-Man stands who will just tell you it's Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, Homecoming's good.
No, Homecoming's great, but I'm saying they specifically pick Homecoming because it's Spider-Man.
And there's people who are like, but the emotional relief of Endgame, which honestly, fair. Like that was the accumulation of like a decade and a half, like fair.
But whether or not it's going to be your favorite thing ever in Marvel, WandaVision still definitely deserves a watch.
Yeah, if you were gonna make a tier list out of Marvel, regardless of what your favorite Marvel is, WandaVision's gonna end up in that S tier.
Mm-hmm. Like, okay, and then we have Lupin. Lupin is obviously Batman.
Yeah, I mean, Lupin's Batman.
Gentleman thief with his ability to sneak in and out of anywhere.
I didn't like this.
No, it wasn't good. I wanted to like it too.
I wanted it to be so good. Because so there's three things that can basically ensure that I'm gonna watch something and enjoy it.
Someone has put the CW logo on it.
Not a true fact. Don't at me like that. Just because I fucking liked Riverdale doesn't mean that's true. So, thing number one, it's a sports anime.
Yeah.
If it's a sports anime and it's even halfway decent, I'm there. It's a legal drama.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I like lawyer shows.
And then it's a heist/crime drama?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Lupin, by the definition of what Lupin is, should be the third one, and it is the third one.
It's just not a good one.
Yeah.
It's kind of a letdown on all the fronts for it. The first episode where he's heisting shit at the auction in the Louvre.
The second episode where it's kind of a mystery story.
Where he's in a prison. It's just... They're both boring.
You know,
anything that's supposed to be a mystery is either a mystery because it's not well done in the show.
I just want to tell you something.
Or it's not a mystery because it's not well done.
My brain keeps confusing scenes of Lupin in the prison with Jagannath in the prison.
Very different prisons. Very different things.
I know. Jagannath is the name Darth Maul uses when he goes to prison.
In Mall Lockdown.
Which
just sounds like something that should take place in Kevin Smith's Clerks universe. Like a sequel to fucking Mallrats.
Yeah. Darth Maul Lockdown is a book in the Star Wars universe and in the Legends universe. And Darth Maul goes to prison for reasons. And my brain's just like... confuses scenes from Maul Lockdown with Lupin, and I don't know why. This show is not good, though. IMO, just not good.
Yeah, I would not watch.
So that brings us to Black Lightning. And Black Lightning is Batman.
Yeah.
With cool superpowers.
So he's Signal.
Yeah, he's Signal.
Which, yeah.
So, this is where Justice gets to be like, haha, I was right. You do like anything that you slap the CW logo on because Black Lightning's good.
Nah, Black Lightning's fucking great. Watch it. I'm not even going to joke about that.
Also, actually, fuck you. I didn't like Swamp Thing and that had the CW logo. Eat a dick. I was so excited for Swamp Thing, too.
Black Lightning is probably still, even after having watched WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Black Lightning is still my favorite live action. I'm not saying my favorite live action show. Live action comic show. Let me get there. It's still my favorite portrayal of a character from a comic.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It is the one that I feel is done the most accurate. They do a really, really great Jefferson Pierce, and he's also still a really, really great Black Lightning.
Well, let me just explain what that look was for. In case you guys couldn't see me give Justice the death stare, because this is a podcast, which is an audio only format. He was like, I know we just talked about WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier just came out, and I was like, you better not be saying this is the best comic book television show ever. No, because WandaVision exists, and I fucking will light you on fire.
I haven't watched all Black Lightning, so I can't even say that. I'm saying I think the Jefferson Pierce portrait in this is the best portrayal of a character I can think of from comics in a TV show.
Yeah, because every other show, for some reason, fucks up its characters. Arrow wanted to make a show about Batman, mm-hmm. and then when they added Arsenal, they didn't add Arsenal. I don't know who they added, but
yeah,
I loved you in Teen Wolf.
And don't get me wrong, WandaVision uses the Wanda and Vision from the Marvel Cinematic Universe really, really well, but those are also very, very different from the comic books.
Yeah, and the spoiler alert: Agatha Harkness in WandaVision is not very comic booky Agatha.
Yeah,
cool as fuck.
But the Jefferson Pierce they have is really well done. And yeah, he's different from the comics, but he is still probably my favorite representation of a character from a comic book in a show.
Okay, hold on. Hear me out. Nightman might be the most accurate comic book.
Maybe. I know nothing about Nightman. So he can't be my favorite representation of a character from a comic book.
Okay, so that brings us, obviously, watch Black Lightning.
Watch Black Lightning.
It's got a spin-off series coming out, or already out.
Painkiller, yeah. Painkillers.
Next, that brings us to Cannon Busters, which I need to watch more of, dude. I fantasize about this anime, and, like, half the time I'm fantasizing about it, I don't even remember what the anime is called. I'm just like, God, that was so fucking dope.
So, I'm just going to say there's not a Batman, but he cracks jokes, uses a gun, and gets killed and comes back to life. So,
Jason Todd?
Yeah, Philly the Kid is Jason Todd, or Red Hood.
Yeah, feels good. Philly the Kid, Jason Todd. Cannon Busters is, honest to goodness,
The perfect space between Trigun and Space Dandy.
yeah, I need to watch more of this so badly. It's so good.
Cannon Busters is a watch.
That brings us to Wu Assassins, which I wanted it to be good. The trailer they show on Netflix is so good. It like if the show had the energy of the trailer.
Also, the titular Wu Assassin is Batman.
Yeah, he is. Is this good or bad? I'm on the bad train on this show. I think it's probably actually closer to a meh than an
I think
actual
it's a
bad.
meh.
Yeah, okay. I think it's closer to meh than bad. I just feel so let down by the existence of Wu Assassins that...
I think the trailer we watched made it seem a lot different than what we got. Because we were both fucking, like, mind blown when it introduced magic. And it was just like, what?
It didn't just introduce magic. It introduced an entire, like, spirit world that exists outside of time.
Well, yeah, that's what powers magic.
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah. But I would say it's a meh. Like, if you're down for, like, classic martial arts movies and stuff, and you're fine with magic being included in that, because a lot of them have that, depending on the film, yeah, no, this is good for that. It's just not what we were expecting.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it's bad for that. I'm just going to say it's not good for that.
I'm going to say it's bad for that. I don't think it's bad because of magic. I think it's bad because it's not the show I was promised, and that makes it bad.
And then we have My Bank and Credit Card Fraud,
which is actually a TikTok and an April Fool's joke, and we didn't review it.
But we both have watched it.
Yeah, obviously the credit card fraud department agent is Batman. Actually, he's probably closer to Jason Todd again.
Awesome, yeah.
This is good.
Yeah, it's fucking amusing as hell.
Yeah.
It has like 11 plus parts now, I think, too.
Oh, Jesus, I need to catch up. It's so good though. It's funny and like.
Honestly, Chris and Hunter's review for it was also fantastic.
Yeah. Go listen to their review of it because we gave it to them to handle for an April Fool's review.
And we were, like we mentioned in, I think, our interstitial after that, we were not expecting it to last as long as it did, for them to go at the places they did, but the fact that they did is just made it all the more wonderful.
When I pitched them the idea of, hey, review a TikTok for us for the podcast, my thought was like, they'll watch the TikTok, 2 episodes, 2 minutes, they'll review it, be 10-minute episode, easy clean edit, post that shit, get it out. And
it ended up being like...
And then Chris was like, care if we do an hour-long episode?
Yeah, we got like 50 minutes from them, and I think edited it to like 40-ish minutes long.
The released version is 32 and a half minutes.
32 and a half? Okay, so it's probably more like 45 minutes we got.
Yeah, we got almost 50 minutes from them. 45-ish.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know how they did it, but a lot of it's just like lyrics to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
And it's fucking hilarious.
It's great.
So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Hunter. Like, I like the idea of April Fool's joke episodes, and you guys went way too hard on that.
It was great.
That brings us to Ozark. I don't know if this show has a Batman. Yeah, I don't know if the show has a Batman. Our main character isn't very Batman-y.
No Batman.
No Batman. But it's good. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's a crime drama. So, Justice, what do you think of Ozark? Because I'm biased.
I think Ozark is really well done. Like I said when we were talking about it, like, I was not fucking expecting the directing to be that fucking great.
Yeah, like, Jason Bateman has...
What the hell, Jason Bateman?
He has no rights being that good at, like, cinematography and directing. Some of, like, the just camera work is in the shots in the show are chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare that, like... So, it's rare that I love a show because of its camera work more than I love the show because of, like, the story it's got going on.
Yeah.
Like, Ozark has a good story, but, like, the camera work, god damn it. Every scene feels so...
It's really, really well shot, and just... Ozark is a watch.
So I was talking with some people, including Cance the other day, about anime. Specifically, we were talking about Demon Slayer, which is an anime I enjoy. But I don't enjoy it for the same reason as like 90% of people seem to enjoy Demon Slayer. Everybody seems to be enjoying Demon Slayer because they think the story is super hype. I don't think the story is super hype. I think the story is actually like a step above generic.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've heard the story multiple times.
But do you know what is super hype about the fucking show?
The music and the animation?
Yeah, whoever's fucking on like the arrangement for that music, fucking god tier. I'm watching that show literally because I'm like, man, I wonder what they're gonna do with the music in this scene, because
Yeah.
it's so good. Like the art and the music are why I watch Demon Slayer, and I feel like that's what I'm saying about Ozark is the art and the music is part of the reason to watch Ozark. But more like the camera work and the scripting is why you watch Ozark. Like the dialogue is very strong in this show, and that's a compliment I don't give a lot to live action shows. Typically, I have a lot of issues with the dialogue because TV show dialogue doesn't feel real 99% of the time.
Yeah. I have a Batman villains for Ozarks, and it's just because I can't think of anything else. Congratulations, Jason Bateman and Drug Cartel crew. You are all now part of the Royal Flush Gang.
That brings us to our last episode, which is Star Wars. And just based on these 2 episodes, I have to tell you from the bottom of my heart, nobody should be watching Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm down with
The
that.
series is complete garbage based on these 2 episodes alone. And I don't know why people are so overhyped about it. The music's good.
The fun fact, young Anakin is Jason Todd Robin, by which I mean if you gave the fans a chance to vote on if he lives or dies, they would all vote death.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I still think he's the better Anakin. I will fight.
Oh yeah, and Qui-Gon is Batman.
Yeah, Qui-Gon is obviously Batman. I mean, he's later Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, I mean technically he's Ra's al Ghul. Sorry, my fault.
Yeah, but Star Wars is bad. The music's good. It has some cool scenes every now and then, but I think across the 2 movies, the coolest scene is Duel of Fates.
Yep.
And that's some sad. That's so bad. And also Jar Jar.
Yeah.
God damn it.
The highlights of episodes 1 and 2: Duel of Fates. I think Christopher Lee's in the movies, so I mean that's cool.
Yeah. There's also E.T.'s. E.T. makes an appearance in the movie.
Fucking Senate bullshit. Fuck that.
Yeah, Star Wars is bad. Don't watch it. So that means on our list, we have rated 29 different shows, including the 4 shows from the Fright Flight. Do you want to hear the breakdown of how this ends up?
Yeah, give it to me.
Okay, so before I get to the breakdown, when we started this, we assumed most of the shows we were watching would be bad.
That was the base assumption, yes.
Based on this notepad I have here, not quite how it pans out.
Oof.
Out of the shows we've reviewed, we would say 10 of them are just bad, don't watch.
Okay.
7 of them are probably don't watch, maybe watch, in the neutral area.
So we're actually trending positive.
12 of the shows we would just legitimately suggest watching.
Damn.
So we need to watch some more garbage.
Yep. Looks like we have 2 episodes of garbage coming up. Well, actually, the next episode we are releasing, I'd say don't watch. So.
Oh, yeah. Fair. I actually came to that conclusion, too. I mean, listen to our show. Don't not watch our show. The show we review on that is a don't watch.
Yeah, you don't watch the show anyways. You listen to it.
Yeah.
So overall, we have 10 don't watch, 7 maybe watch if it sounds like your cup of tea, 12 watch, and 1 listen. And that listen is Copilot's review.
We have 2 listens. Copilot's review, System Mastery.
I don't think you're legally allowed to listen to our show unless you listen to System Mastery. Did I not put that disclaimer on the site? I can go and do it.
Hunter doesn't listen to System Mastery.
I know. I don't think a lot of our listeners that we actually have that are repeated listeners listen to System Mastery, but they should.
Yeah, because we're gonna sit here and continue to hype up System Mastery. I was gonna say something that was not appropriate, and then I was gonna say something else that wasn't appropriate, and then I landed on hype up System Mastery because that's the most appropriate way to phrase that.
And this is why these are recorded and not live.
Yep. So
Live things are dumb.
obviously we both watched some of these shows that we've reviewed all the way through now.
Yes.
Have you found a show that you love from co-pilots? Have you found a show you love from what we do? Have you found a show you love from co-pilots?
Love? No.
Okay, fair.
Greatly enjoyed? Yes.
So, same boat, because technically I found Money Heist before I brought it to the podcast.
Yep.
Money Heist would be the exception for me. That show is amazing. Ghost Stories, actually. Found Ghost Stories for the podcast. You knew about it before podcast, but
Yep.
you brought this
Because you
to
mentioned it, and I was immediately pulled up a picture. I was like, you mean this?
Yeah, so Ghost Stories is probably the coolest show I've found from the podcast.
Yeah.
Just as a thing we're doing, finding ghost stories is just this gem.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have shows on here I definitely love. WandaVision, Wayne, but we didn't find those because of the podcast. We already knew about Wayne.
Yeah.
WandaVision was obviously something we were going to watch.
Yeah.
We'd already planned on watching it, and we just came up to people hey, you should review this. And we're like, okay.
Yeah, so Monday before WandaVision comes out, we're just getting excited about WandaVision because super excited about the show in general, excited about Marvel Cinematic Universe shows that actually count towards the canon that aren't shows that are get swept under the rug like S.H.I.E.L.D. or Daredevil or what have you. And then Wednesday, a friend messages us. He's like, "You're reviewing WandaVision, right?"
That wasn't a plan.
And then another friend tags us on Discord. Is like, "Hey, you guys are reviewing WandaVision, right?"
Yeah.
And then another friend Snapchats us and is like, "WandaVision, right?"
Yeah. And then we were watching your stream, and was just like, you guys are reviewing WandaVision, right? We're like, I guess.
I mean, they're releasing 2 episodes.
Sure.
Obviously.
We'll do that.
Obviously.
Yeah. But as far as greatly enjoyed because of the show, I'd say Swamp Thing, but I was already going to watch Swamp Thing. It's a fucking Swamp Thing TV show.
Yeah.
But I would say that we watched for the show, and that kind of just found through the show, actually definitely through the show, more specifically through Dustin, Better Off Ted. I greatly enjoyed Better Off Ted. I've watched all of it now.
Yeah.
Better Off Ted I really, really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I love it, but I definitely enjoyed it.
It's not my favorite sitcom, but it's in my top 10 favorite sitcom list.
Yeah, it's a great watch.
Sorry, no sitcom will ever beat Scrubs.
Yeah, understandable. Scrubs is fantastic.
Yeah, except for that last season. But we don't talk about that. What we do talk about is how to contact us. Look at that segue.
Which you can do on our website.
At copilotsreview.simplecast.com.
On Twitter at copilotsreview.
Or at our email address, copilotsreview@gmail.com.
You can also find us on YouTube by just searching Copilots Review.
Or, like how you find our Discord, by clicking that link down in the show notes.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're on the website, there's a little buttony thingy and you can push it. It takes you to YouTube.
Have you updated that?
I believe so. If not, I'm a liar, but it's fine. You should know that by now.
If not, I'll update it while you're at work tonight. Anyways, we'll see you on the next flight. Thanks for listening. Thanks for making this 1 year possible.
Yeah, thanks, guys.